Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. This is attempt two, I think. I don't remember if you recall a couple of weeks ago we tried to do this and it didn't work.
Oh, that was you.
That
Okay.
was me.
Well, nice to finally see you.
Nice to see you too. Um, all right. Do you want to just hop right into it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet. So, before we get into anything, you've had a pretty huge win with that post that Metallica put up
Oh yeah.
praising you guys for your support. That's pretty huge. How did that feel for everyone?
It felt, of course, very validating, and in a way, like you cannot build your dreams or your band around the idea of getting that thing to happen. Um, but when it does, and I had a couple of things happen like that in the past in terms of heroes complimenting what you're doing or showing appreciation for it. It's never on such a in such a public way as Metallica did, obviously, but it it hits a nerve where you feel very young when it happens. Because I think back, speaking of that, Australia and all, that the first real show I went to, I was 14, I went to see AC/DC. And and I remember those little boyhood fantasies of what if we would get to meet them and what would that be like? And maybe they think I'm super cool and give me a guitar, like whatever childish
Yeah,
idea I had in my head. Uh, and those things don't happen, but then suddenly it does with Metallica, that we're so social and friendly and generous with their time and all that. So you get so much out of it as a fan in a way that you're getting used to the fact that that is not part of what we do usually. So then it kind of blindsides you and again hits you in a very young place. So incredibly validating. I mean, the first band I was in before Avatar was we played some, covers in the school basement and For Whom the Bell Tolls was on our repertoire, so they've always been there.
yeah. Wow. If it makes you feel any better, I'm 23 and I still kind of have those childish fantasies
Yeah, no, no,
for
no.
my
They
band.
they can stick around and, look at me. Sometimes they even happen.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I'd say that a lot of people would have those fantasies about opening for your band or meeting you guys. So that must
Yeah, I
feel
guess then
pretty
it's
cool.
hard to, yeah, but I don't really think about it a lot until I'm kind of confronted with it, and then it is nice. But when it comes to yourself, I don't know. At least speak for myself. I'm very well aware
Hmm.
of putting on the pants one leg at a time as well. So it's such a you're being very much. If you try to see what they see, you try to see yourself in such an outside perspective that it's very hard to have on yourself.
Yeah.
So there, when it happens to me, it's mostly like, oh, that's nice. It's
Yeah,
it's it's hard to grasp.
that's fair enough. What was it like just getting to support Metallica and I guess getting that, I don't know if you got an offer email or, what that looked like, but how did that feel for you?
It was a group call that our manager set up. I was in the dressing room of a gym when we got the news. Yeah, fully dressed.
That's
Um,
good to know. Yeah.
just changed to go. Uh, no, it was a shout out loud kind of hell yeah we did it, because also a lot of people had worked on that for a while. It doesn't just happen. And we played our own little part in it, but management, booking agents, everyone that's campaigned for that for a long time. um so it was like finally it fell into place was a big feeling. um and the experience overall, it was a bunch of things, all good things. Now, like I said, this generosity with their time and as far as getting to meet the band and the way they would treat us and everything was very validating and cool and fun. And then the shows themselves interesting because I have this big round stage in the middle,
Yeah.
which is a thing to learn to navigate and relate to. Just going for a stroll around the whole thing while singing is it's a physically taxing stage. Also, our performance is, I would dare say, quite energetic. And on a normal stage, there's some pacing in just, okay, twin guitar lead. I might be able to leave stage or at least go back to the drums, have a sip, and kind of, relax just those tiny wind breathing rooms. But on this stage, you were kind of like constantly exposed, which means you had to be on all the time. Also, when you weren't, you were always kind of in focus and out of focus at the same time and had to put yourself. So you just, worked very hard with your body throughout the
Yeah,
whole thing. But it was also cool to get. I grew up watching a lot of pro wrestling, so it's something about walking into a stage that is in the middle of an arena and be surrounded by people. There's like, like just again talking being younger and stuff, but 10-year-old me thought that was pretty badass.
it
So
is.
no, special experience.
Yeah. I'm going to pivot to a bit of a different question. It's
Hmm.
actually from a friend of mine, who introduced me to
Yeah.
you guys,
Okay.
um, a few years back. It was, I think, just before or after the last time you were here, and he's a really big fan. He was at that show, I think, in the front row.
Okay, cool.
And so I couldn't do this without asking if he had any questions.
Yeah.
So he wanted to know, it's about your song on the beach, and he wanted to know how you discovered the book, and then how it inspired your instrumentation and lyrics for the song of the same
I
name.
had heard of the book. I wonder, I don't remember how I first heard of it. Just, one of the things you hear about might be as simple as that I, you know, was always a big fan, especially of the earlier releases of the Fallout games.
Yeah,
So I think in that kind of conversation of post-apocalypse and nuclear, apocalypse and all
yeah,
that, might have been a place I heard it, but I wonder also if it was a way more cultural setting connected to school and some kind of class there. So I don't remember that, but it's simply uh, in my childhood home, my parents had the book. It was there on the shelf. Oh, there's that
really.
one. And yeah, I read it. So yeah, I come from a family that reads. So I didn't
That's
have
a
to
good thing.
get out exactly because yeah, I didn't need to go out of my way to find it. And so, read it. It stuck with me. It's of course it's an amazing book. And then what usually happens is I don't rarely, or don't say this wrong, but rarely find myself writing music to accompany an idea. No, the music leads to the idea. And and I think just working on it's good you asked about one where I actually made the riffs. So the first thing that I came up with was the main riff, this do 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 do.
Chunky.
And yeah, and kind of in my head was something meant to have some kind of Sepultura grew. Um, but oh yeah, so in playing around with that came also that, clean guitar chorus thing. And I think it kind of, I got some System of a Down vibes and also taking it down a bit when, that the heavy stuff, that the chorus is not the loudest or heaviest part. And I think kind of I connected some dots between what I was working on and BYOB by them. And there's a party. And it sounded a bit festive. And it was a bit also in a period overall where I was thinking a lot about dancing while working on our heavy metal. So all those thoughts were swinging around. So everybody, so the idea of people dancing and if a musical part does the trick for me, it usually plays a little movie in my head. So then I see, people dancing on the beach. And then it's just, I think, how the brain works, the association. So from festive, dancing, beach, beach, they're on the beach. Bing. Ah, okay. So they're dancing at the end of the world. And then, so that's kind of connected the dots. So like good books, good movies, or life experiences at all, don't necessarily that I use those things the moment I've consumed it, right? But they sit there somewhere in the back of your head and eventually will find a home. So, so once I wrote the music and the train of thought brought me back to remembering that story. And yeah.
Wow. That's so cool actually. Um,
Cool.
So I have a bit of a silly one here as well. This is
Mm,
this comes from me and my friend group personally.
mm,
There's obviously, as you're aware, a bit of a running joke on the internet about your connection to Tobias Forge, whether there is one or isn't one of
hmm.
Ghost. And um I've actually just for me been wanting to know for years if you actually do know him. It's a really silly
No,
question, but no.
no, we met once. I remember in the just because we were in the same at some point on the same festival circuit in the United States. So the only two things there would be one was when they were still very secretive about who they were, and the court
Yeah.
case hadn't outed his identity. We were just sitting in catering on an American festival, and it was so obvious who the other Swedes were. Just better looking tattoos, more well-fitting jeans, sensible portions on the plate. So just like, okay, they are the Swedes. Now we know what ghosts look like. Um, and then the only real meeting we had is that we got to shake hands and meet because they were having a signing on the festival, and we were right after them. So it was just a quick hello, hello kind of thing in Swedish. And like,
Yeah.
oh, cool to meet you. Another, and I don't know, cracking a joke about dressed up Swedes or something. And one of the ghosts said, because they were wearing their masks and stuff. So that's been our interaction with ghosts.
That's really funny because I think one of the I got a lot of targeted ads for your show that you have coming up in Melbourne, which is where I am.
Hmm.
And one of them was just I don't remember the context. It came up a few times, but it was you saying that you were Tobias Forge or something, and I was losing my shit over it.
Yeah.
You must film so many ads that
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember that one, but yeah, it's funny. I
I
think
got
I'm
a good
taller.
chuckle.
Uh,
Um,
but but still, tremendous respect for them. And it's funny, like I think we sound very differently, but there's something quintessential. Like we used to work with this. We stole the front of house from Motorhead, and
did you?
this guy Arnie, who toured, well, not stole, but Motorhead was slowing down
Acquired.
in the years leading to Lemmy's passing, and so we had the same sound tech. And when he told people who were working for him, described us as typical Swedes as a band. And what does that mean? And then he started to list bands that sound nothing like one another, but
There's
they
something there.
paint a big picture of things. Like it's if you take Sabaton and the war theme, therefore that the stage show connects with the music, with how they dress, and it's conceptual like that. Or Ghost, of course, with the whole Catholic occult, thing that they got going and the Satanism and stuff. And Avatar is a metal circus, and the sound and everything and what we sing about and how we go about things are very different, but it's a total
There's
package.
there's
Seems to be a
something
thing that
there.
that a bunch of Swedes do. And then if you really start picking things apart, if you really, geek out looking at the sheet music,
By all means.
you will, I think you will find ABBA is there a lot in all
Yeah.
these bands.
Yeah.
And we have influenced everyone wherever you live in the world. You have the influences, the music you find in formative years, become a fan of, and go to the shows, and all those. Peak music is always what you had around between the ages of 13 and 18 or whatever. There's that, and but then there's also the stuff that is just part of the soil that you stand in growing up. So that is what kind of music, what kind of children's music you heard, what were the movies or TV shows or whatever you heard, what was sung in school, what did your parents sing to you going to sleep, and what was that in that case? What music were your parents into? And that big thing. And there I would say two things, but I think three that influenced Swedish music a lot, whether we want to or not, is ABBA. And the other would be uh, Georg Riedel, who did so. We have this children's book author who is all Sweden's grandmother was Astrid Lindgren. Most known in the world would be Pippi Longstocking.
No way. I had the
Yeah,
VHS growing up and I used to
yes,
watch it over and
yes,
over and over.
yeah. So that's Swedish, and there's a lot more. And Jörg Riedel wrote the music for most of the TV and film productions, not all of it, but most of it. And it's good, it holds up. It's something that then you grow up and become very nostalgic for, and because he's this, he's a jazz musician who knew how to do it for kids, but still quality music and everything,
Yeah.
and stuff. And also he played the bass on an album called Jazz på svenska, Jazz in Swedish. That is this piano player who was supposed to write all the Astrid Lindgren music, but he died in a car crash.
Oh my
He did
God.
write the Pippi Longstocking theme. Then his bass player took over once he passed. But he made a jazz album. They made a jazz album together that takes old Swedish folk melodies and treat it like jazz themes. So
Yeah.
some blues licks, some solos. So it's a Swedish folk jazz album that is this ever present, and it sounds like an IKEA showroom. It sounds like a ancient forest. It sounds like Stockholm streets. It sounds like all those things, and
Yeah.
it's so those kind of influences I think you will find in all Swedish bands, for instance. And I think this is true for everywhere in the world, whatever you had
Yeah.
going on.
It's such an interesting like as a musician getting to hear that and think about it and often sorry, I'm very conscious of the time. But often I'll find myself listening to something, I'll go, oh, that sounds so
Mm,
familiar, but I haven't heard them, and then they end up being
mm,
Swedish.
mm.
Alrighty. Would you thank you so much for your time, and I'm aware we've gone a little over.
Yeah,
Would
it was a
you
bit lengthy of an answer I gave you. So,
I mean, honestly, I'd be happy to just sit here and talk about music all day. You've got
yeah.
an incredible mind.